Welcome aboard the news review segment on the AM show. Of course, I'm Sweetie Abochi. And this morning, my guest in studio with me is Maxwell Lukutor, the Member of Parliament-elect for South Tongue. Mr. Lukutor, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
And congratulations.
Thank you so much, my dear.
How does it feel?
Mixed feelings. I've had a go at this for some time, and so it was all in preparedness to annex the seat and play my role as a Member of Parliament. And so, but sometimes when they call you MP, you tend to look around to see there was something, somebody else you're referring to. So I'm not used to the situation of being called an MP yet, but it's a good feeling. Yesterday, I was in the big House of Parliament to go through the registration process. We're taking around to see what we'll be seeing, getting in there. Was it
overwhelming?
Not really. I have been there on a few occasions, and so it wasn't anything too different, but at least being shown that this is this is that, and so it was okay.
Well.
Yeah. Today would also be going back to the State of the Nation's address to witness it.
In fact, we'll discuss all that in the course of the program. But usually we give our guests a couple of minutes to walk us through the trail of thoughts, especially if there's a topical issue that you want to reflect on. So what will be your 2 minutes take?
It will be the fire that gutted the Katamanto.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Our heart goes to the victims, and especially at this very terrible time of ours. We just come from the holidays, the celebrations of the Christmas and the New Year, and this has happened. It will be a big blow to people, and especially knowing the economic challenges we have over the past 7-8 years. I believe that it will have a big toll on our people, and so my heart goes out to them. It's just unfortunate that people have started putting pressure on the incoming president to prioritize. The NPP has been in power for all these years. So many things have happened. We've never seen them being proactive for the first 3-6 months, maybe even to a year. You may have to have time to learn the rudiments of Parliament, how things are done, how you have to approach situations and stuff like that. You would have to put your office together. You need a human resource, doing all that.
How long do you think all this will take you before you settle in properly?
For now, we've not been given a schedule, a timetable, and so we're just taking through the registration process yesterday. Today, we may appear at the State of the Nation's address to see how things begin. Then, after we are sworn in on Monday, Tuesday, I'm sure the orientation program outline will be given to us. And so, because I'm not too sure how it's going to look like.
There automatically,
definitely. Yeah. And so, we're fortunate that yesterday the budget for the first 3 months has been laid. And so that will be discussed and we'll go through it. And once those things have taken shape, I'm sure there will be a lot of things to do, especially the president-elect putting his men together, cabinet, ministers, DCs, MCs, and all that will take some time. And after that, I'm sure that depending on the situation from the national, the president-elect would also have to follow suit, and also from our speaker and leadership in Parliament.
But that's for Parliament. I want us to circle back to your constituency. I'm sure you ran for office because you identified some gaps that you think you're equipped to handle, help your people fill. What are let's keep it at three issues, and what your approach is to, solving whatever issues.
Fortunately for me, I have been with my people for some time. This is the 4th time contesting to become a Member of Parliament. And so for all this while, there were things we've done together. The South Tongue constituency, a semi-rural community, we have challenges with roads. We have challenges with potable water, even though we have the Volta River or Lake with us. And so those are the immediate things you need to look at. But for me as a person, my focus and attention is on the youth of the constituency, how to realign their thinking, their thoughts about their future, giving them hope, and then pulling some of them along, getting them to where they need to get to. Sometimes it may not be giving them money, it may be just sitting them down and talking to them, and then realigning their thoughts and their approach to life. I
like that.
So once we do those things, I believe that they will be ready to roll on with me. With our roads, yes, the dry season is here. The drip equipments are available in town. So my thinking is that quickly we need to, together with the district assembly, continue with the reshaping of some of our roads to make them more motorable. Many of our roads are in bad shape, and so we need to immediately zoom into that and then work at it. Fortunately, I am an engineer, I'm a surveyor, I'm a planner.
Okay.
And so I
understand the demand.
Yeah, I understand the demands of our people.
Right.
The challenges of water, we have the government water treatment plant that will be supplying Togo and other neighboring constituencies. And so we need to quickly rechannel a larger chunk of that to our people so that we are by the river, we should have the potable water to drink. And so for me, challenges of road, challenges of water, and then the youth empowerment are the immediate things that I am thinking about how to kickstart with these people. And I'm sure once I have the human resource solid behind me, then we are good to go. Yeah, sure.
Well, we'll be looking out for you, and congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Let's get into the news review proper. And my stories are coming from myjoyonline.com first. Let's start from the SONA, the very last one from President Akufo-Addo. That is set for today. He's supposed to deliver that today. And let me just read a bit of this. He will address the nation from Parliament House on Friday, that is today, ahead of the dissolution of the 8th Parliament. There's a lot happening in Parliament today. And the President is expected to provide an update on the current state of the country, touching on various sectors of the economy before handing over office to the newly elected President, John Dramani Mahama. I want to do two stories here on myjoyonline.com before I come to you. So now the governor of Bank of Ghana, is saying that the debt exchange program has nothing to do with the Bank of Ghana's independence. And I listened to him speak to George Wiafe yesterday on PM Express Business Edition. And the story reads, Governor of Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Yedu-Addison, has firmly dismissed claims linking the central bank's independence to the government's debt exchange program. And quotes, the debt exchange program has nothing to do with the independence of the central bank, he stated. And he described the program as, quote, a pure crisis issue, stressing its urgency during a time when Ghana was on the brink of economic collapse. How does these two stories, the first one, of course, is just our expectations for what the president will be saying today. And we know that there are some disparities between what they're reporting in terms of economic recovery, what the IMF is cautioning us to do, what Ghanaians are actually feeling in terms of the reality on ground and all that. So first that, and then we can talk about Dr. Ernest Addison's rhetoric.
Yeah, so in your media landscape, you say that these are PR gimmicks that we've had over the past 8 years. The realities we feel, but they tell us something else on paper. And so I believe that there wouldn't be anything different. Nana Addo, the president of Ghana, will continue on his lying spree. He would continue. He would continue to tell us things that are not
why
real.
Would you say that?
Oh, we've lived with this for the past.
Presidents to be lying all the time. If you say lying spree. I just want, given the...
No, what we have felt, what we have voted for is what I'm talking about. We have experienced this for the past 8 years, and there's nothing new. We are not expecting to see anything or hear anything new from the President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. It's always been one thing against the other. You just mentioned the difference between what the IMF is telling us, what they tell us, and the reality on the ground. I'm sure the reality is what Ghanaians have voted for, that we have had enough of this ineptitude, inaction, and then the corruption that we have experienced for the past 8 years. And so that is what Ghanaians have overwhelmingly voted for. So there isn't anything new he's going to say. I will be surprised to hear him say the reality on the ground. Because
surprised.
Yeah, I'll be surprised to hear him.
Now whatever his reality is just
maybe his realities are different from the realities of Ghanaians.
Yeah, that doesn't make him a liar.
And that is why even at the end of the day, you saw Bawumia saying that he knows he was winning and that he wanted the gap to be big. And we gave him a big gap because that's what he called for. So the point is that their realities, I believe, is different from the realities of Ghanaians. So you hear him last week in the New Year message saying something different from what we all know. Of course, the growth rate that he's touting that it was supposed to be 6.8 and now we are getting 7.2 in the last quarter and all that. The reality on the ground is that we have gone through excruciating times and then things have not been too good for us for the past 8 years. And so, but you see some of his surrogates, Napo, comparing him to the Nkrumah of all times. Can you imagine? And so for me, that's why I say that their realities may be different. And maybe they know the truth, but they tell us something else. They want us to to imagine something we are not seeing and feeling. So I believe he will go through his gimmicks, opening his eyes.
No, you just got a mandate to go, to go into office, and at a point in the next 4 years, your residents, constituents will be criticizing the work you would have done over those years. And so I hope that by the time you are leaving office, we have better things to say about you than you're saying about the outgoing president. No,
you see, the issue is that criticisms are always good, especially when this is a positive criticism. So, but if you do something good and people don't see it, it means you are really not doing what they think you are doing. When you do something, people should feel it. That is why the reality of the MPP is different from the reality of Ghana. That is why they were given this landslide defeat of all times. And I'm not sure they can ever recover from that.
Okay, so let's talk about Bank of Ghana. The governor, I think we should just leave it here for now. He is leaving office. You are coming in, so let's see what you do with the power that we've given you.
We want him to paint the reality on the ground before he leaves. He should tell us just for once, because we have gone through elections already. There's nothing new about them.
But you see, my question is, why does that matter? Because the rhetoric from the NDC is that when they actually assume office, they are going to do their own forensic audit and, expose whatever rot that has not yet been brought to light. So does it really matter that the president in his very final SONA give you the reality that you are expecting, which may or may not be different from what his reality is? Does it really matter?
It does matter, because you see, these are records. When you come to Parliament to make a presentation, it goes into the record. So at least for once in your life, if you have no dignity, please, for once, let us feel that you are the president of Ghana.
Let's move on now. Do you want to reflect on the governor, or should I do some other stories?
The DDP that we have experienced in Ghana was one of the worst things that has ever happened to us. For once in my life, I saw pensioners going on the street to demonstrate and to cry and look for their money that they never had, monies that they could have used to solve their health issues they never had. And so if Addison is saying that Bank of Ghana is still independent from all those things that happen, then these are some of the things I say, that their realities are different from our realities. All we have seen, experienced, they come back to tell us that it is different. And so in the midst of all that, you saw them using so much money in building the Bank of Ghana new office and doing so many, printing so much money and for the Akufo-Addo government. And they come back to tell us something different. So like you said, when we assume power, there are so many things that we're going to do. There will be a lot of forensic. There will be a lot of sitting down around the table, opening the books for people to come to help us identify the reality on the ground, according to their books. For now, their books are with them. We can only feel what it is on the ground. We can only feel how much kenke is being sold to us, how much fried fish is going, how much a plate of fufu will cost you, and all that. So that is the reality on the ground.
Okay.
So for me, when we get there, the books will be open. It will be an open book thing. Everybody should know what the reality is before we go on to do something new.
Let's stay on money and budgets. You're talking about how much fufu costs and all that. Now, Parliament has approved that 68 billion Ghana cedi for the first quarter of 2025. Good news. But before you answer that, let me get a bit of the details out there for the benefits of our audience. So the funds are to be allocated across various sectors of the economy between January and March this year. And according to the Bini Budget 2025, the new John Mahama administration plans to spend 16,462,829 Ghana cedis on compensation for employees. And there are other expenditure on goods and services set for over 3 million, while interest payments, billion rather, while interest payment will cost the nation 20 billion. And other expenditures include 45 million for subsidies, 9 billion for grants to other government units, and 234 million for social benefits. And it goes on and on and on. I think later on in the show we'll discuss all that. But what do you make of the 68 billion Ghana cedi that's been approved for the first quarter of 2020?
Yeah, so you see, some of these things are just templates you follow, because how much we pay to government workers is already known. If there's an increment, at least those adjustments will be made into it. And so there isn't anything specifically new about this. It's been a template that we follow to produce. And so for me, yes, those are the projections. The actuals may not be too different, especially when it comes to emoluments of government workers and other things. And then the interest payments on our loans, they are things that statutorily we are supposed to be doing. And so once those are the things we need to do compared to whatever will be generating income to be able to meet these demands, I believe that they may not be too far from the reality. So, except of course, when we come and then we begin to realign, especially the Article 71 payments to the minister, depending on the number you now pick, then those things will reduce. So those are some of the things that will go into the budget. Right. But at least for the first 3 months, I'm sure that will be playing within those figures that have been banded around. So it may not be too different from whatever it is.
Okay. Let me quickly do some more stories on myjoyonline.com before we move on to other portals. So the National Security Minister bans drone flights during presidential inauguration. I think that's a good call. GES rejects CHAS's postponement request. Yeah, let's get a bit into this. It's an important story. Yesterday, I saw that statement. Now, the Ghana Education Service says the reopening dates for senior high schools remains unchanged. So it means they're going back to school today, despite the request for CHAS, that is a Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, for a postponement of reopening. Now, CHAS a few weeks ago addressed the Ministry of Education and warned that a failure to address the financial constraints facing the second cycle schools before January 3rd, which is today, could disrupt reopening process. And it went ahead to advise strongly against the reopening of schools in a statement a few days ago. However, Ghana Education Service, in a statement issued yesterday, is saying that nothing has changed. It said 2024-2025 academic calendar will proceed as previously announced, which means despite the financial challenges and the constraints that CHAS is warning GES about, GES is saying that let's go on. And so today, people are going back to school.
That is what we have subscribed for the past 8 years. The managers of our schools against the Education Ministry, and for that matter, the President. I was likening the rule of the President and the Minister of Education vis-a-vis the secondary schools to the rule of King Nebuchadnezzar. It's a high-handedness rulership over these managers of our secondary schools. I was national president of one of the biggest secondary schools in the country for at least 6 years, and I've had the opportunity to talk to most of our people, even after I handed over to become an MP now. These are times that you see headmasters themselves going to take loans to manage their schools until government pays back. Can you imagine? A headmaster whose salary may be not maybe more than 5,000 thereabout has to go for a loan to come and manage somebody's kids for so long. And so this level of high-handedness and you see, that is why as soon as they realized that the government has lost, they began talking. The question is, where was CHAS all this was? Why were they not talking? It was because they live under the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar.
Okay.
When you talk,
Mr. Lukutor, yes, you're not very friendly with the outgoing government, I must say. Most of
I don't expect you to.
No, I don't expect you to be friendly either. But I'm just saying that.
No, so the fact of the matter.
Call them names. We shouldn't.
No, I'm only likening them to a reign. I'm only likening.
Saying that the president is going to the line spree, and now you're talking about.
You know what the metaphor. You know what the metaphor.
I get it. I know the Bible story. I'm just saying. Yeah. Let's be circumspect in our.
Yeah, sure. So the point is that the reality is that headmasters were under very strict and regimented management and rulership, and now that they are breathing a fresh air of freedom, CHAS is speaking and headmasters are talking. That is all I mean to say, that it's not been too good. So you ask them to reopen. How do you expect them to manage the kids that we give to them? And sometimes on your screens, we see the food that our children are being fed with. At the latter part of last year, we heard that there was some expired rice that were given to our secondary schools to be fed. Are you happy with that? Are you particularly happy if your child eats the things that we see on the screens? And so I'm being charitable to liken them to King Nebuchadnezzar and all those. So the fact of the matter is that these people have not treated Ghanaians well. And seriously, that is the verdict we have given to them in the election. So for me, they should have reasoned with them. People say there are no food staff in the school to feed the kids, and you are forcing the kids to go to school. And when that happens, parents are forced to be going every week and giving food to their kids. And those are the things we are experiencing. They say we have free SHS on the left, and then on the right, we are suffering more than if we are paying for our kids to go to secondary school. So I believe that, you see, in situations like this, let the ministers, let the president listen to people for once, and then play around. There's no money, so allow the kids to be home for some time. Why are you forcing them to?
I'm curious to know why the GES is refusing this, but until I have more details.
So you yourself, you are surprised.
I'm curious. I want to know why.
There is nothing new. What has happened over the years is that they force them to go and manage.
Okay.
And if you don't do it, they say you are not a good manager. They will send you from Kita School and send you to Salaga Secondary School.
Say again?
No, I mean they will send you from some school and then send you to some other place that you may not want to go. So,
okay. Do you have evidence to back that?
Oh, my dear.
No,
you are the one who are supposed to be giving me the list.
But you are the one on national television saying
so we have seen and heard. I told you I was a national president of all students of a particular school, Sogakope Senior High, for 6 years. And so I was part of the school's management or school board. So I know what I'm talking about. That doesn't mean
that you know what's happening in every other school.
Oh, my dear. Wow.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, so you are playing the devil's advocate, I guess.
Let's go to graphiconline.com because they are not here to defend themselves. So it's only fair that we look at the things from both sides.
Being made against them. We have seen and heard these things in the media.
I think this story will interest you. The National Council of the New Patriotic Party has appointed incumbent majority leader Alexander Penyumakin as leader of the minority of the NPP caucus in the 9th Parliament starting from January 7th. And this is on graphic.com. Okay, there you have it on your screens. Let me get a bit into that. The council has also made some appointments in the party's caucus in Parliament. They are the current deputy majority leader, Patricia P.J., who has been maintained as deputy leader of the caucus, and the current majority chief whip, Frank Anodompre, was also being maintained. And the party has also appointed the incumbent first deputy majority whip, Habib Idrisu, as the first deputy minority whip, and the MP from Praiso, Davis Opoku, as the second deputy minority whip. These appointments were confirmed when Graphic Online's parliamentary correspondent, Nana Kunedo Ajiman, reached out to the leadership of the NPP caucus. You still have Penyumakin to contend with in Parliament when you get there.
Oh, the last time I heard our minority chief whip telling him that it was his posturing and his attitude that has brought the NPP this far or this low. So we are happy that they have maintained him. We'll still continue to whip their back. The fact of the matter is that, you see, in leadership, no one person knows it all. And so once you are treading a path, you should know whether you are leading well or the other way around. We saw the rancor that characterized the 8th Parliament, especially at the dying moment. Even though from the word go, because of the divided numbers, things happened. But I believe that getting to the end of it wasn't too good for Ghanaians. We didn't see too well the kind of relationship that should exist between leadership in Parliament, because so many things we saw him running to the court as if a child was running to the mom when he was being whipped. And so if that is the best bet they have and they are pushing them forward, hooray. For us, we have more than 2/3. So they might as well be at home with their tablets and they allow us to go to the house and then take decisions.
Do you see the wisdom in the rhetoric of those who are cautioning us to watch you with very eager eyes, that you have an overwhelming 2/3 majority in Parliament? You could use that to do dangerous things in the country.
We are not a dangerous group of people. The dangerous group of people are the ones that have been booted out of government.
And if you say so yourself, huh?
We are circumspect and we are cautious. We listen to Ghanaians. We are not like the other one that will cause journalists to be fleeing this country and then they run after their shadows. We are listening. Mahama had the worst criticism in the media, but he took it. He took it in good faith, and then so many things, lies were said about him. Manasseh Azuri and the rest of the people came back to say that most of the stories they wrote about him were really not the whole truth. And so he took everything in good faith, lost the election miserably, and now he's bounced back resiliently. And I believe that the Mahama we knew is the same Mahama we're going to see. I'm not sure we'll be reckless enough to misapply our over two-thirds majority that we have in Parliament. Most of the things I'm sure that will be based on consensus with Ghanaians, not with the micro minority. I'm sure that will be guided.
Let me run through some stories here, some news headlines for today, and while we wrap up. Tuesday, 7 January, declared statutory public holiday for Constitution Day, so take notes, cherished audience. NPP sets up committee to investigate 2024 election defeat. I think I want to wrap with that story. Let's get into it a bit and see what they're talking about. So the New Patriotic Party has formed an 11-member committee to investigate the party's defeat in the 2024 general election. And the committee will be chaired by Professor Aaron Michael Quay, a former Speaker of Parliament. And this decision was made during a National Executive Council meeting held in Accra yesterday and chaired by the party's national chairman, Stephen Ayensu Intim. I thought it was pretty clear why or what accounted for the loss. But yeah, this is for you to review.
Yeah, sure. So as you said, it was pretty
I thought it was pretty clear.
That they were being stubborn, they were not listening, they were telling a lot of lies. There were so many unfortunate things that Ghanaians experienced under this government. And the more you say, the more they do. It's just like that song, "Who can cry me anymore?" So that was what they did, and I don't know what next they want to unravel. Maybe the monies that were sent, all of them were not.
But as a political party, I mean, it almost falls on them to actually do proper investigation where they overpromised and under-delivered. They can learn the lessons and then take it into the next election, because that's not the end of the party. I mean,
yes. There isn't anything.
They are still a very, formidable force, the NPP, are they not?
Formidable in the shadows. Yeah, so we have demolished the NPP to the barest minimum. This is the worst defeat they have ever experienced in their life. And so it is just normal business that they go back to the round table to tickle themselves and laugh. To me, Napo and the presidential candidate, Baumia, they were on the dancing spree on the stages going all over. And then to me was brandishing his gold all over the TV, and money was being shared as if there was no end to the suffering of Ghanaians. And it was only during that time that we saw there was so much money. And the admonition we gave to Ghanaians was that, take it chop, but go vote against them. They did just
I think they did that, eh?
They did exactly that. There was so much money flying over. During the day of the election, when I was going around, my people were telling me, oh, they are sharing 200, and I said, go and take it back, come and vote otherwise. Me myself, if I got the opportunity, I would have taken it. No, I didn't get the opportunity. If I had, I would have taken it.
Right.
So that was a verdict we gave to them with their misrule, their high-handedness, and all we have seen under them. They will go, and maybe then their relatives were different from the relatives of Ghana. Now that we have sent them to the doldrums, they will go and then listen better. Now they are as ordinary as anybody. Then they were in power, so their glasses were not down. Now they will roll down their glasses and listen. So I'm sure with that, they will come back. I'm not sure they will even come back to tell us what they found out of.
Posterity will reveal all. We'll all find out eventually.
No, but the fact is that, as you said, you and I, we know what really caused them. And so there wouldn't be anything new.
Maybe the investigation will reveal something that, we haven't yet.
But they definitely are coming to talk to us.
So on the BBC, website, I want to focus on the stories of Africa. Boy 8 survives 5 days in lion-inhabited game park. Wow. And this is happening in Zimbabwe just 14 hours ago. And the young boy ate wild fruits and dug small wells in dry river banks to find drinking water in Zimbabwe. Drunken Zambian policeman freed 13 suspects to celebrate New Year. A manhunt is underway for the 13 suspects who were allegedly released by an intoxicated police officer. Wow, talk about drinking on the job. And Ivory Coast says French troops to leave West African nation. Let me actually get into this story. The country is home to the biggest remaining continent of African French troops. So Ivory Coast has announced that French troops will withdraw from the West African nation, further reducing the military influence of the former colonial power in the region. And in the end of the year address, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara said the move was a reflection of the modernization of the country's armed forces. And this is happening all around us, especially the Francophone countries. I hear that people are praising Traore for what he's doing there, but really, I don't think military intervention is any way to go in Africa. If you know the history of the military takeovers and how they became dictators, and then people, it's like a cycle that should not repeat itself. But looks like we're seeing pockets of that around us. But this is for you.
So also the situation now is that the world all over, dialogue, negotiation, and all that is the way to go, not necessarily military and all that. It's never helped any country. And so I'm sure that when we begin to withdraw, human beings will begin to think that let's rather sit around a table and talk. It's all about fighting over one thing or the other. So if we can sit down and negotiate and share, there will not be war.
Right.
And so it's always peace that we should look for, and negotiation and peace building is the way out. And democracy has come to stay. If you don't do it well, we boot you out like we did to this government. And so for me, let's always sit down, let's always talk. Somebody will always have a lion's share when you are sharing. So sometimes just look at that and feel down. Let me let this go for the sake of peace. It always will help us.
Right. Well, I'll give you a minute or so to give me your final words. If you want to say Happy New Year to your friends and family, that's allowed.
Yeah, sure. So let me use this opportunity to say hi to my constituent, South Tongue constituency. All the way from the Wekope through Butame.
The Wekope?
The Wekope.
Ah, okay.
Which of the villages are you from?
Bozuma. Which of Bozuma?
Bozuma. Oh, okay. Netiamu.
Netiamu. Boshima.
So let me say hi to my constituents from the Wekope all the way through to Butame, to Tojinu. Okay. So Gakope is our district capital. And then from Yokutikpo all the way to Habwi, Galosota, and then all around. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you. I'm grateful for the opportunity you have given to me to represent you in the big House of Parliament. You have known me for all these years, and I know that I will do my best just to make sure that South Tongue is counted among the constituencies in the whole of this country. I wish you all the best, and I hope and pray that you continue to support me with your prayers. That's the most important one. So that I'll be in good health and strength, and that I'll come back to do all the best you wish I do for you. I wish you all the best. To my team members, to my constituency executives, and to everybody who helped me to get to where I am. To our sitting member of parliament, Honorable Mensa Kobna Oyome, and to all other aspirants, I wish you all the best in this year.
Right.
And may God himself strengthen all of us and end it well with us. God bless all of us.
Amen. And I wish you the very best as well. That there is surveyor and engineer. You're a man who wears many hats. Maxwell Lukutor, MP-elect for South Tongue, and he joined us for News Review this morning. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you.
Now, for Friday's AM Sports Edition, you know that's Prime Take. Muftan Abila Abdullahi sits with former Black Stars player Augustine Ahinfo for an insightful conversation coming up next. Please stay.